Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about tactical marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win. Welcome to the... What are we called? Oh, yeah, Three Grots in a Vox. This is the Christmas special. I say it's a Christmas special because I've got a Christmas jumper on that you can't see. Mark's almost got a Christmas jumper on that you can't see. And John didn't know it was Christmas. So
yeah, there you go. It's fine. Woo. Even though it's
I've got my Christmas beer. Look at this. I've got raspberry beer. I'm pretty sure this is going to be fucking horrible.
Or it could be this, which I'm not wearing because I haven't put it on because it's fucking hot in here right now.
Yeah. So I've got my terrible Christmas beer. I've got my terrible Christmas jumper. How many Christmas jumpers do you own?
2? No, 3. I've got a Darth Vader fucking bar humbug Christmas jumper that's still in the...
Oh, it's pink. This beer is pink. And it's going everywhere. I've got a wet leg.
When are we getting a Blood Angels Christmas jumper? That's my question.
There's already an Ultramarines one in the corn one. We could use the corn one, I suppose.
It's not much different, is it? Hang on.
Not really.
Moment of truth.
It's a bit
fucking
shit,
disgusting.
Really, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, that is awful. Oh, Jesus Christ. That is so awful. It's so sharp.
I mean, it's raspberries. I mean, what do you expect?
I like raspberries, but not in beer.
So, like, subscribe, and comment, people. Yeah.
So, Christmas special. We have made an PowerPoint. John and Mark haven't seen this, so this is going to be good, which means that they've got no possible way of preparing, and I'm going to put them on the spot over and over again.
I really know what I was signing up for. Okay, all right, fine.
So, for our Christmas special, we are going to look at the top OP 40k bollocks of 2021 and a little bit of 2020 because it seemed unreasonable to just nibble that little bit of ninth at the beginning there. So it's mostly 2021, although of course there's also still a few weeks of 2021 to go. It's only 2 weeks though, as we record this. So are you ready for the journey?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I kind of think I know what the top OP, when you mean OP, you mean overpowered / broken. I kind of think I know what the top 2021 OP things were in competitive play, but I guess let's see.
My body is ready.
Prepare your soul. So, first thing we have, if it plays for us, 18 Eradicators. John, do you remember that one?
I do remember that one.
That was scary, wasn't it?
3 points nerf when they costed fucking nothing as well.
Yeah, and they were running a giant death ball with a captain and lieutenant. So reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound. And I think the 18 Eradicators was...
So what, 36 metal shots?
Yeah, but I think he put a couple of multi-meltas, one multi-melta into each squad, so we ended... I tried to do the math on it. I was like, is it 40 shots? Is it 42 shots? Is it 44 shots? I could never quite work...
Now, can't we? So it's 3 squads of 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's 18 shots, 1 each from each guy. Then it's going to be... Plus an extra 3 for the multi-melta shots, so we're at 21 shots. Then you can fire them twice if you fire at the same target, so it's 42 shots.
But the multi-melta doesn't get doubled.
Oh, does the multi-melta not get doubled?
No.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, does it?
It's part of the ability of the data sheet. It's not part of the ability of the weapons.
It's a total obliteration, isn't it?
Oh, really? Oh, right.
It's the Eradicator's ability to double the number of shots when he shoots. It's not part of the weapon profile now.
Oh, I did not know that.
You faced it, John. How scary was that?
I mean, it was terrain dependent, right? Like, if you just hide from it and charge it. But I think the other thing Andrew ran with it was the Chief Apothecary as well. So if you didn't kill enough, he was just reviving one every turn. And yeah, I mean, they were a bit cheaper back then, but 18 Eradicators in a list.
Was this in response to you running your Super Heavy Falcon or something? Or was this...
I think he just
do it for the sake of it.
I think he just thought it was going to be strong, which should be kind of was.
Ultramarines, or did he run a different chapter?
He ran Iron Hands.
Of course he did. Why am I surprised? Okay, fair enough.
This is Andrew.
I remember watching that. So, I'll let you rate this, really, John, because you're I've never faced 18 Eradicators. Nobody I know of has been bonkers enough to buy 18 Eradicators.
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't.
That's
because
what? How many boxes of Indomitus is that? That's 6 boxes of Indomitus.
Yeah.
There are people who would have done that, and I'm sure have done that.
Yeah, I'm sure there are, but nobody I know. So how do you rate it? So I've changed the scale for this. We've gone from seriously scary down to don't know what you're talking about, Gov.
Okay.
Which is not really that scary.
I mean, it felt kind of bullshit OP, but I think it would be bullshit OP against any sort of army with a good amount of armor. I mean,
it's sucked balls against orcs who weren't running buggies, for example, but that's a lot more on down the line, really.
Yeah, so I think...
And it sucked balls against Drakari.
Yeah.
Or sisters.
So,
I mean... kill the raiders fairly easily.
It would kill raiders fairly easy. I actually think it was crap, really. I mean, on paper, it sounds super scary. When you put down the number of multi-melta shots, it's kind of super scary. But, I mean, I think if you want to run that many multi-meltas, you can do it better with sisters, and... they're cheaper, and I think there's a bunch of rules that those sisters can use to basically move and fire. So I actually kind of think this was crap, really, just on paper. If someone says that you're fighting 18 Eradicators, you are very scared, I think.
Mark, do you want to stick your 2 penny worth in?
Yeah, it was a bit bollocks, and then it got toned down to be a bit less bollocks, really. So back when it was a problem, it was bullshit OP. I wouldn't say it was broken.
You happy with it in crappy, really?
Yeah, I'll take that. It's fine.
All right, so...
It's not like it takes any skill in it. You're just throwing melter guns at a problem. Yeah, great.
Do you know, I've absolutely fallen out of love with melter guns. I've stopped even running attack bikes with melter guns.
Yeah, me too.
Every time I use them, I always roll a 1 for damage.
Okay. Fair enough.
Need to be within half range then. I mean, yeah.
Morty.
Well, he was bollocks, wasn't he? He was fucking stupid when he came out.
He's still kind of strong, to be honest, right?
He hasn't taken any nerfs. No. He's just as strong now as he was when he came out, as far as I can tell.
Which suggests that all it took was people learning how to play around him or deal with him, basically. You don't see Death Guard at the top tables these days, but again, there's been a lot of development since then.
Because what is he? He's toughness 8. He's got a 4-up invuln.
The amount of salt and whinging.
He's got -1 damage
when he came out, and his rules were there.
And he's got a 5-up shrug as well.
And 5-up shrug.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. I think that he is actually really, really strong, but he is 490 points. And I actually think that you don't, like you said, you don't see Death Guard at the top tables. I think it's because so much hinges around Mortarion. Like, I don't know, if I was a Death Guard player, I don't know how you play him. Because if you go aggressive with him and he dies, you're fucked because he's a quarter of your army and everything hinges on him. If you go defensive and you don't get into combat, I mean, he's only got like a single shot pistol. So it's like a really... And nothing else with Death Guard is really going to keep up with him, except maybe like, what is it, the Flesh Mowers? So yeah, I think like if you wanted to play Mortarion, you're going to run him with like 3 Flesh Mowers. That's like 1,000 points. You've left nothing, no space in your army. So I think he is a strong model. I think when he came out, he probably felt OP because no one knew how to play against him, and
he was scary as fuck. I remember we spent so much time theorizing how you could kill him, and
then in that one game, Colin used him to do absolutely nothing except do this psychic action throughout the entire battle, and that was a weird game.
Yeah, and then that other game, he ran him straight forward, and we just null zoned him and killed him turn 1. So yeah, I mean, he's I actually do think, like, I don't think he's crap. I mean, on your scale, you've got crappy, really. I still don't think he's crap character. I think
he's not crap.
He's just really difficult to play effectively.
When he came out, he was fucking ridiculous. And then the levels of more ridiculous bollocks came out after that. And it's just like, okay, you are still ridiculous bollocks, but you're kind of in tune with all the other bullshit that there is around there at the moment.
I mean, I think what you've got to take... So people who are watching this whole thing is to be taken with a pinch of salt, because A, I've not taken into account any of the changes or anything like that. So you'll see stuff on here that's been FAQ'd and nerfed and all this sort of thing. But this is really
how we felt at the time compared to looking back on it. Because at the time, we looked at Mortarion and we were shit scared of him.
Yeah, that's true. So he was
We
actually.
really were.
We felt he was probably actually broken.
was.
He
Then.
just turned out to be
Everybody
not
else
quite
was,
as
I wasn't.
scary as we thought.
I was never scared of him.
You're not scared of anything, though.
It's true.
Did you not kill him with
You'd be
like
scared of
3
this raspberry
Vindicators in
bit.
a single turn or something?
I've never actually played against him. No.
I did it.
Oh, it was.
I did it. It was I played in a little tournament, and for a laugh, I brought 3 Vindicators, and I one-shot Morty turn 1.
Brilliant. Oh yeah, I remember you that story. That was a funny story.
Yeah, I mean those Vindicators are swingy AF. That's what they've got going for them, I guess.
I rolled really hot, and he rolled really low.
I think when he came out, we probably thought his rules were actually broken then.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the amount of salt and whinging about it. Yeah, totally.
I don't think he's got any worse. I think now we've just got other scarier things.
Yeah, and also people have experience on how to fight against him.
Yeah.
And more importantly, how to win. Why the
So where we put it in, boys? I'm leaning to bullshit OP.
Yeah, I could go with
Yeah,
that.
go with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
That's fine. That works for me.
we need to put a bit more drama into this, because otherwise we're going to get through them way too quick. I was
It's a
expecting us
gorgeous
to
model.
argue about this for a while.
It's
So
an absolutely beautiful model.
it is gorgeous. Have you seen the Richard Gray one, where he sort of filed it smooth and freehanded all over the wings?
No.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay.
He painted the big eyes on it. It looks amazing.
Oh yes, I probably have
Um,
seen that one then. Yeah.
It was in White
Did
Dwarf.
them as proper butterfly wings and everything. Yeah.
Right, okay, so build up. Drum roll.
Someday, certain people in our little community are going to find out where you live, Tony, and there's going to be a reckoning. Or
Yeah.
they're going to
Someone's
find
gonna
out
help
that
me
you
out
and
now.
I intend to go to Warhammer World on New Year's Day or something, and we're going to be met outside the front doors or something like that.
By a
Just
mob.
murdered.
By an agri mob, yes. Gabriel Seth. Well, he didn't get many updates in 9th edition, did he? Same as all the Blood Angels characters. They copy-pasted the rules from 8th.
But if we listen to certain members of our community, he is completely overpowered. He's the most horrible character in the game. If you stat him with the correct way and use him with the correct warlord traits and whatnot, and he can beat anything. So clearly,
He's not rubbish, is it?
If we go with the way that people believe, or certain people believe, he should
he's
obviously
up
be
there
right
in-
at the very top there. Yeah.
Seriously scary. I mean, it feels like you're reluctantly putting him
I think
there.
you missed the trick here. You should have named one of these tiers bit shit, really. Is he better or worse than Eradicators?
Do you know what? Actually, serious hat on for a second. If I was fighting 18 Eradicators or Gabriel Seth, assuming they've built an army around both of those things, I think I would rather fight the 18 Eradicators than Gabriel Smith.
Yeah, I think that would be fair. I mean,
Because if someone rocked up with like an extreme combat death army built around him and 1,000 chainsaw welding nut jobs, you know, the person playing with them is probably going to try and stab me. And I would find that harder to play against, I think, than
Maybe.
someone just rocking up the load of Eradicators. Because
Yeah.
I've just Sangard the Eradicators.
yeah, I mean, we give Flesh Tearers a bit of a hard time, but like, I actually think they're not bad at all. If they get
They're
rid of
just a bit
this,
slow.
yeah, if they get rid of the stupid rule where, like, if Space Marine detachments, you know, if we mix and match, like, I think I can understand why you couldn't mix Blood Angels and like Ultramarines, but like Blood Angels and anything else that defended Baal, like any of their successors, like I wouldn't have a problem with that. You get rid of that sort of rule where you could take like Flesh Tearers and Blood
I
Angels,
suspect
you could
it's more
easily
about
have it.
housekeeping than anything else.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying because you could totally have a detachment of Flesh Tearers that's just like a drop pod, Seth, and a few other characters, and that'd actually be a
What
few
is
other
the wording
models.
of that rule?
You would lose your Super Doctrine, I believe. No, you would lose.
So we share a super doctrine.
Yeah, but you would lose it, I believe. Or
Yes, you would. You would still lose it.
yeah, even though we share the same super doctrine, you would lose it
Yeah,
because
they make no distinction between it being a successor chapter and the parent chapter.
yeah, which is
If every unit in your army has the Blood Angels keyword, then every unit has the Combat Doctrines ability, and if it's in a Blood Angels detachment, gains the Savage Echoes ability opposite.
it's very confusing. I've looked into that rule a few times, but you definitely lose something.
So, are we actually genuinely putting Seth above Eradicators?
Yeah, I
No.
would.
Put them in the fucking bottom, come on.
Yeah, right. I need to make an extra one of these. It just says the bin.
I mean, the 18 Eradicators never won a game. I'm sure Seth did actually win some games in 9th edition.
That's fair. And I don't want to die. See, I didn't put him at the bottom. You can't blame me for this. All right, so drum roll.
Drum roll. Raider spam. Yay. They've gone from 85 points to 95 points to 105 points.
Still fucking 2 out of the 5 lists in the top tier in pretty much every single game or tournament happening reporting into ITC in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Even after they went up another 10 points, they're still dominating.
To be fair, Drakari is. I don't know if Raider spam still is.
I mean,
the list stat
there was a big
detail,
thing.
stop caring.
I don't know if you guys watch Tabletop Tactics, and they were talking about it. And when Drakari came out and everyone was saying they're broken, they were like, well, the main reason they're broken is Raiders are so cheap. Because not only are they really cheap and they add a lot of speed, which is fine, but durability, which is a bit more. But they also got 1 million Dark Lances for free as well, which you combine with rerolls to wound and things like that, makes them absolutely broken. And the argument was if you nerfed the Raiders, that the Drakari would fall back off and be a bit more balanced. And we might yet see that. We haven't seen that. What we've actually seen is people just go, all right, then I won't bother with that. And they're all bringing
Other broken
big
bollocks on
hordes
the
of
Drakari list.
Kronos, Talos, Pain Engines. We're not seeing the Dark Technomancer drive-bys quite so much as we did. We're not seeing the Witch spam quite so much because they boosted the cost of Witches.
Quite a lot, actually, yeah.
Drazar's still broken. Like absolutely broken.
Yeah, no, I think the Raider spam. I think when they came in at 85 points, if you look at them at 85 points, you're looking at an Impulsor at 115 points. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's 5 up pins on top of the weapons loadout, and the fact that everything inside it is open topped and all this sort of like, this is fucking bullshit, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the Dark Lances, D3+3 for free. Why would anybody take the Disintegrator, which was another problem? Not a major one for playing against it point of view, but when things are the only option because anything else and you're nerfing yourself, there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
You never saw Disintegrators because your Dark Lance was just better. And you take it in a Black Heart Cabal, which gives you the reroll, hit or wound. And against every target, your Dark Lance does either the same or better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the tournament I went to in September, I fought one list that had 6, and I think one list that had 5. And I think in the tournament that I was just at, there was another Drakari player who just finished out the top 5, out just below me, maybe, and he had 5 again. So, I mean, we still see a reasonable amount of Raider spam. I was a huge advocate of them going up. I actually thought that 10 points might be enough, but like it's 20 points now.
I think they're probably about where they should be now, to be honest.
Yeah. But I think the problem before was like some of the stuff inside them, like the witches, they were horrendously good. I think they were 10 points per model or 11 points per. That was way too
well, then
low.
you had that succubus, 60 points, give it a razor flail, and then competitive edge, and you were stacking up 20 odd extra bonus attacks and this sort of silly bollocks. There were people saying you could get infinite attacks, but it clearly says in the rare rules you can't. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't true, but they were still and are still phenomenal for their points cost. Like absolutely mental. So let's rank them.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to when they were 85 points per model, I think they're actually broken.
I think they were seriously scary. I genuinely think they were the worst thing that I fought against.
Oh, we could put
Certainly
them right
amongst
up there. Yeah, put them right up there, I guess.
Mark, what do you think? Did you play any of these ridiculous
No, I've
flying
played against
spiky
it.
boats spam?
From all the feedback that I've seen and all the results that I've seen, they were absolutely ridiculously dominant, and they had absolutely no right to be. So,
You know, they got knocked off the top. To be fair, they did get knocked off the top spot, and they got knocked off by something that may be coming up later. But they've always been there or thereabouts.
Yeah, I played them once when they were that 85 points per, and I played them twice, and ironically I beat the list that had 6 and lost the list that had 5. But yeah, I mean it's just the D3 plus 3. Like, when are Space Marine Las Cannons going to get D3 plus 3 or something?
And the fact they're dedicated transports, you could take
as many as you like,
quite happily.
Yeah. The mobility of them is huge.
I don't know who thought any of that was okay in playtesting.
No.
Well, whether or not playtesting caught it is one question. Whether or not the writers of the
interestingly
is another question.
The playtesters, or some of the playtesters, are saying they did catch it, and they reported this back as being a real problem. And the other one they reported back was the Dark Lance was too good.
I've heard that kind of feedback from playtesters every now and then, along the lines of, yeah, we saw something, yeah, we caught it, yeah, we reported it back, and it still turned up in the codex when they actually released it.
I imagine the books need to be printed.
The version they had was actually weaker than the one that actually finally got published.
Oh, really? I was going to say, I'd imagine the books need to be printed a little bit in advance, which could be a problem.
The lead time is about 6 months, so I understand it.
Okay.
It's a big old lead time. But then they have the
models, it's years. For books, it's about 6 months.
Yeah. So, are we happy with it in the seriously scary, or do we want to drop it down to actually just broken?
Yeah, 85 points per model. It's seriously scary. 5 more points than a Rhino and about 10 times better. So,
all right. So, prepare yourselves.
I'm prepared. Have you actually fought 3 Catan?
I have. It's really hard to put together a list with 3 Catan.
I was going to say, you must just be like Catan in like troop choices, right? Because each one's about 350 points.
It doesn't leave a lot of space because you've got to do it as 3 separate detachments.
I've seen 2 of them kicking around with some semblance of frequency, and that was scary as all balls as it was.
But yeah, you run 3 of them and then you just fill it up with
the Nightbringer. New Nightbringer is bullshit, and the Void Dragon is reasonably bullshit. I have no idea about Deceiver. You just don't hear talk about these much these days.
But he's not as good as the Nightbringer or the Void Dragon.
Yeah. I mean, the Nightbringer can be kited. That's the only thing that's the weak point of the Nightbringer is 9-inch move, right?
I don't think it's as tough as we're all scared of as well. I mean, the rule that protects it, I mean, you can only do so many wounds per phase, is really very strong.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, you're probably going to shoot it on turn 1 before it's in range of anything, and then on turn 2, you're going to shoot it again and then charge it with something, and it's dead.
You got several of these big badass models kicking around at the moment. Miltarian's one, these guys are one, Gazgul's another, and none of them really dominate. They're powerful and they're scary and daunting as hell, but they don't dominate. It doesn't mean they're
thought they were going to.
Any less difficult to take on and deal with if you're unprepared, though.
No, if you don't know what you're fighting, then they are genuinely scary. And
they will kill your army.
Yeah.
They'll kill bits of your army very happily and very easily, very quickly.
And I've lost the 3 Catan list, and I've won against the 3 Catan list. And really, it was only pure luck. The first time I fought them, I did lose because I just didn't know what they did, really. And I got all panicky and I kept throwing things at them to try and slow them down and that. And the second time I thought, you know what, fuck it. And I ignored them more or less and just won the game. Because they just don't do enough. They're not quite durable enough and they don't do quite enough to win the game.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably strongest taking 1 Catan. If you want to run a Catan, you run 1. I think the Nightbringer is very, very good. I think the Void Dragon is pretty good as well. If I had to pick one myself, I'd take the Nightbringer just because I think in combat he is horrific.
Yeah.
But the trick is getting him in combat, and also, I mean, like, well, you guys know that I run a whirlwind in every game, and in some games a whirlwind never does a single suppression fire. A Catan is perfect target for a suppression fire. If you ever charge me, I will fight you first, and I will pretty much always do those 3 wounds that you can take per phase. And even if my guys die, I'm fine, because I took the maximum number of wounds off you per phase, and, I'll whittle you down. So I only fought 2 Catan once, and I did lose, but again, it was very early on in 9th. I didn't know really what I was doing or how I deal with the Catan. But I think, like I said, I never fought 3 Catan. I assume this was right after Codex Necrons dropped. People were doing this, was it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was probably
a new force as well. Yeah.
I was going to say it's probably eclipsed by like Mortarion coming out like a month.
This is really one of those ones that sort of came out at the end of 2020. People, people are like, everyone starts net listing, and you were seeing this pop up, and you were seeing 18 Eradicators pop up.
It's easier to take big, stumpy models than it is to put a lot of thought and effort and planning and synergies and work into writing a list. If you just bring big things, then it's fairly simple to write. And let's be fair here, the Void Dragon is fucking gorgeous as a model.
Oh, it's a fantastic model. I'd love to paint one.
Yeah. I think this goes somewhere like crap, really.
I think it's on a par with those Eradicators for me.
Yeah, seems fair.
Better or worse than Gabriel Seth?
Well, it also has 1 game, so it's better than the Eradicators.
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get rid of it. He doesn't deserve to be in that list.
Okay.
We're not saying that Gabriel Seth is in here as a joke, but
he was in there as a joke. Nobody's ever said Gabriel Seth is overpowered. Well, people might have said Gabriel Seth is overpowered, but nobody who knows what they're talking about said Gabriel Seth is overpowered. Is that even true? He's all right. He's a good combat character. We're not going to talk about him again, though. He's going to sit down there in the bottom.
No, he's going to pop up at least once more tonight. You can guarantee that.
Fair enough. All right, let's do something else then. Prepare yourselves for...
We are prepared.
Now, just before we write it off, has this tank lost a game in 9th edition?
It has not. It's been destroyed a few times. It's been destroyed in turn 1, but technically it has never lost a game. I think I ran it on the channel 10 times. I'm pretty sure it's double figures now. Undefeated.
So, Mortarion has lost a game.
Yeah.
Raider Spam has lost a game.
Yeah.
Gabriel Seth has never won one.
A few people will disagree with that, but sure.
So, by definition,
this is seriously scary. It's scary if you go first. I mean, like, it is a friggin' strength 16 -6 main cannon in turn 1. It is quite stupid. And, I mean, games have been won from this just by firing the main cannon at 1 enemy armor, firing the 2 laser destroyers at another enemy armor, and be like, right, that's all your armor done. Now you've got nothing to shoot back at the tank, and the tank every turn will just... Like, we start shooting, like, friggin' twin volcano cannons at blobs and necrons and just be like, sure.
Was it on just the last entry we were taking the piss out of people who would just build their army around one single, big, powerful model?
Do you know what's getting to me even more? That Blood Angels logo is not central in that black bit.
I was going to say, well, on my tank, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, thanks.
Why is that on the piss?
Do you know how long it took me to do that tank? Next time you show one of your big models, I'm just going to be like...
It's not in the middle!
Everyone's
I've only just noticed it and I just can't stop looking at it now.
No, we can't unsee
The blue
it.
on the laser cannons is very pretty. Very...
Oh, thanks. I didn't like the blue on the laser cannons, but...
Oh, okay.
It's a gorgeous tank.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's you're your own worst critic usually, aren't you? But now that I've seen that, I'm just going to be like...
Can't unsee it, can you?
Those exact volcano lasers are the exact same sculpts that Forge World used for their Acastus Porphyrion Knight, who's there
That's a
And
bit
I
lazy.
did the same sort of blue as well in the
Okay.
Midland colours. So
I think they
That's
use
cool.
the same laser cannons on the Cerberus heavy tank as well, actually.
would make sense.
But yeah, no.
While we're discussing this, you need to take time amongst yourselves because I'm now moving on. This is now the Electric Bear Brewing Company Simmer Down Pale Ale. It's got to be
Pale
better than that
ale.
raspberry shit.
Okay. What colours are going to be?
Don't know. We'll find out.
Green.
Pretty sure it's going to be ale.
It's just beer coloured. Well, I say beer coloured. It's like piss coloured,
Pale
really.
beer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Like it's gone in one end already and come out weakened.
what was the list that ran with this falchion? It was a captain on a bike. It was a librarian dreadnought to basically give the falchion a 5-up invan. And then it was like 1 squad of Death Company, 1 squad of Sanguinary Guard, 1 squad of Vanguard Vets, and then like,
Something like that.
3 troop
And
choices.
you ran it with double Volcons as well against that Tau list, if I recall correctly.
Yes, you did.
Oh yeah, I ran
And then
it
it
with
died more or less in turn 1, didn't it?
I ran it with a Redemptor with Volcons as well. Yeah, because you just need some OP in the list to add to the.
Oh,
I hope you've got.
that's not better.
I hope you've got Relic Contemptors on this OP list. I don't know.
It smells like wet dog.
Why don't you just buy beer that you like?
I'm happy you're
It's
drinking.
Christmas.
It,
I thought I wanted some Christmas beers, so
Christmas
I
beer.
went to the.
you get some
M&S.
mulled wine or something.
No, it's disgusting. The only reason you mull wine is if you've got really bad wine and you want to cover up the flavour.
I had some mulled cider at a local restaurant for Christmas one year. That was really nice.
Okay.
Get
I'm
your
gonna have
piss
to go
quick.
back there see if they're doing it again.
I don't know if. I mean, a super heavy is just one dimensional, isn't it? Isn't they either kill the super heavy or they lose the game, and sometimes even if they do kill the super heavy, they lose the game. I don't know if it's OP. I'd probably say it's crap, really, but no one knows how to play
competitive
against it.
terms, it's a gatekeeper list. You can either beat it or you can't.
Yeah.
You're never going to really go 5-0 with it at a major tournament, but you might go 3-2 or maybe 4-1.
Yeah.
Because there'll always be a list that can beat it.
I mean, I like the tank.
God
Its
knows all
base
about
is
going 4 and 1.
base is just far too big. Can't.
John, 4-1, BA commander.
Yeah, I know.
Twice in a row, isn't it?
Yeah, twice on the last game as well.
You see, John's been salty about this and thinks we're taking the piss. This is fucking better than I can do. Come on.
I don't think you're taking the piss.
But you put single company veterans in drop pods and thought it was a good idea.
I didn't. I put 2 company veterans in drop pods.
I mean, that's good for engaging all fronts.
It was great. I scored really, really highly on secondaries
Yeah.
those games. I never scored less than 50 in that tournament.
Yeah.
I just didn't win.
I think the
scoring higher
Falchion
than
is
50 either.
is. I think it's better than taking a Catan. I think it's better than 18 Eradicators.
Really?
Mortarian.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
it's
math
fair.
says it probably is, simply because it's never lost and all these other ones have.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't know if people. I think super heavy tanks are
We
hard
are
to know
not
how to.
recommending this.
Yeah, but I do think they're hard to know how to play against. Because like Andrew played me with the Strayus, and the only reason I won that game, I think, is because he moved the Strayus too close to me. If he'd kept it like 50 inches away and just shot all my shit away with the main cannon and sort of played a very defensive game, I think as a Blood Angels player, that's actually super difficult to deal with, So if people don't have ways of like punching through 26 wounds on toughness 8 on a 2+ save at range, and the tank can just shoot at you every turn, it will delete 2 or 3
That was
400.
also pretty early in your games that you were playing as well, before you'd built up the terrain to be where
I
your
remember
terrain
that
for games
game.
currently is.
Yeah,
He just parked it right in the middle of the table, didn't he? And then sort of said, "Come at me, bro," and then you did, and it died.
yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. If you park your super heavy tank maximum range away and you just shoot every turn, you have a Tech Marine there, so.
I had a really bad game in like 7th edition or something where a mate of mine, who's actually a really good guy, brought this brand new Fellblade super heavy tank, and it was gorgeous and beautiful. And he brought it really, really proudly, freshly painted to this game at local gaming club.
I was
And
going to lose him.
I ran Mephiston over and just went chop, 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 bang, dead.
could do that last edition, couldn't you? I loved it when characters like 100-point smash captains could kill super heavy tanks in a single turn.
You can still do it.
I remember soloing knights.
The abilities he's got to do it haven't changed. He's still strength 10. He's still got a load of attacks. He's still hitting fairly hard.
You just used to be able to do all 10, 11 attacks again, which was the real kicker, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
I loved that. Okay, yeah.
Everybody
I think...
knows that if you just painted something, you put your heart and soul into it, it's going to die without doing anything.
Yeah, that's how that works.
All right, so
let's see what's next.
I don't remember. I made this a week ago. Here we go.
Admech fucking everything.
It was pretty hard to narrow this one down because, not being funny, fucking everything is probably the best way of putting this. Because you've got those stupid flyer spam that they've had to change the rules over.
Yeah.
Like those stupid Iron Striders with a D3 +3 plus stack everything on it.
Which
magic las cannons of Mega Doom.
Yeah.
Which they had to change the rules for. And then we've still got fucking stupid blobs of Skitari with 1-up armor saves in cover. You have a 1-up armor save and a 4+ invul save and a automatically kill everything on a 4+.
Yeah, or just for the one that really got me in the game that I got horrifically beaten was like when you said, all right, these guys have pistols, so that's like 5 shots. And I was like, all right, cool. Because when assault intercessors shoot their pistols, you get 5 shots. No, this was
1 point damage.
This was pistol 5, and it's a 10-man squad. I was like, what? Pistol 5? Like, who the fuck wrote? Just because I was like, I would swap my assault intercessor strength 4 pistol in a heartbeat for a strength 3 pistol that was pistol 5. I was like, okay, they have made so many changes.
About why Drukhari haven't just run away with the meta with their stupid raiders? That's why.
Yeah,
because they fucking exist.
Admech shooting.
Yeah. This list.
Admech everything.
The Admech.
Even nobody runs the stabby versions of those Iron Striders. The Dragoons or whatever they are. Not because they're bad, but because everything else is even better. They still do a ridiculous amount of damage. And they've got those dogs that you can sit in front of your opponent, and then when they charge them, you run the fuck away. And you can't then do anything.
Yeah, no, Admech are really, really strong. I think even with the points increase, is that they've just had. They're really, really strong.
Broken.
But if we go back to when their codex first came out, and you look at like the London GT, and you look at the guy won the London GT in a single turn, not a battle round, a turn. He took his turn, and the other player conceded because the flyers are friggin' broken. Like you said, they had to change the flyer list. I would guess they are total bullshit. Whatever the top scale of your...
now, even with all the nerfs, they are still fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I mean...
Which is bad, because I don't have an Admech army, and it's about the only Imperial faction that I don't have an army for, and I don't dare collect one, because as dirty a mesa chaser as I am, I would feel guilty running them. And they're cool models.
There's some pretty models, yeah.
I think they're much closer.
This is really cool.
But I think
I did originally call them toaster fuckers, but I thought that might be a bit too provocative.
Yeah, maybe not.
I think that they still are.
We're worried about offending Admech players, but Flesh Terrors, yeah, fuck it, whatever.
I think they go above the Raider spam. Like, they're just so much more scary. I haven't played them.
Their prowess,
there's another factor to their scary, which I believe plays a major part in it, and that is how complicated their rules are, relying on this working in this and this ability and this synergy here and this stratagem and all this sort of stuff, which makes them a nightmare to wrap your head around unless you're buried in the codex yourself and figure out how they work and how to learn how to take them down and how to beat them. And that just makes them even more impenetrable to the average player.
I was doing some research before we did this, and I was trying to work out how to put together that ridiculous death unit of Skitari. And after about sort of like a page of A4 of explanation, I thought, you know what, fuck it. We just call them bullshit OP and move on with our lives. Because the amount of complicated... I mean, it's very Admech. I mean,
it's
they fit the fluff even in the crunch.
But yeah, I don't necessarily even like how complicated they've become, because if you're at a tournament or something like that, there's too many nuances. I mean, you need to remember your own army, you need to know everybody else's army, and like AdMech, with the Doctrines changing strengths and weaknesses every turn, and with the amount of stratagems and stuff that they're stacking, it does seem like it's a very difficult. Like you said, an average player has no chance. A player at the top of their game can maybe squirrel away a win, which is what I managed at my tournament. But like it was so difficult to beat them. And
knowing how
the only
your
time
army
I've
plays,
won is either with a lot of luck or a bad opponent. I've never beaten AdMech with a good opponent.
knowing how your army plays and how to get the most out of it is step one on the road to doing well at a tournament. Knowing how every other single army you're going to face plays is the next step.
Yeah. So it's a tough one. I think they are still very, very strong, but I think when their rules came out, you're right. I think they were the most broken thing in 9th edition so far in this list, anyway.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Where's my drum roll?
It's behind you. Right.
I was going to split it up, but let's be honest, it's all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Morgan Vale with her. Everything is just awesome.
Everybody always get her name so
You've
wrong.
got
Morgan Val, is it not?
Morven Val.
Morgan
Morvenn Vahl.
Well, everyone gets it wrong because no one's ever been called Morven before. They're always called Morgan.
I noticed that.
This was a comment from my live stream or Discord, wasn't it? When somebody wrote, who wrote the Sisters of Codex, can they please write ours? It might have been Highland Phoenix that said it.
Yeah, because it was fucking ridiculous. I mean, you've got Morven Fail, you've got the Sacrosancts they cost no points at all. They all have 4-up in bonds, and they've got the bodyguard rules so you can hide them out of line of sight and protect all your characters. You've got silliness with mortal wounds spamming storm bolters.
Yeah. That's almost guaranteed mortal wounds from those storm bolters.
Repentia that can kill anything in the game, more or less.
And fight on death.
So even if you kill them first, they still get to kill you back. I mean, it's a great book. And this will upset some people. I don't think the Miracle Dice thing is broken. I think it's very powerful. And I think because of that, maybe some more nerfs in here should have been happening. I like the Miracle Dice. I think it's really fluffy.
Good. Rumour has it, Eldar are going to get their own version of it.
That'd be cool. Because I've played Sisters of Battle longer than I've played Blood Angels. And for more games as well. When I used to be young and tournamenty, it was Sisters I used to take to tournaments. They weren't very good then. I just thought it was funny to turn up with an all-metal army. Which I've still got an all-metal army of Sisters of Battle.
Plus, to be fair, it's kind of nice that after so many years of Sisters being the complete butt of every single GW joke going, being the worst codex, and when the new Sisters Codex comes out, you're on the verge of a new edition, and they're cursed and bollocks, and nobody's ever going to make new models for them. And now they're out and they're kicking ass. That's kind of cool. Yeah. I like that.
And the last codex was good. This codex is good. I think it's really strong. I think that there is some serious undercosting going on in places.
I think a lot of the things that are bad and broken in this would not be bad or not be anywhere near as bad without Miracle Dice. I think that is the key mechanic that makes this faction
ridiculous. Think they don't pay enough for that privilege.
Yeah, that's maybe true.
40K as a game is inherently random, and you can rely to a degree on randomness occurring to make games unpredictable and nerve-biting intense. Sisters remove that. If I can guarantee a charge at a deep strike, then yeah, fine.
That's why I like them. I hate randomness. Why do I play a dice game?
Why do you?
But no, I genuinely don't think it's broken. I think it's extremely powerful. I don't think they pay enough for that ability. Because like you say, guaranteeing a deep strike charge is phenomenal. So why are they not paying for it? Why are they only paying, what was it, 14 points a model for Sacrosancts? It's bonkers.
Yeah, I think some of their
Okay, yes,
stratagems
on
were kind
paper,
of...
their stuff is much weaker than a Space Marines. Yeah, absolutely. It's, a Sacrosanct is nowhere near as good as a Blade Guard, but that's why they cost a third of the points. And when you start factoring in the fact that they can auto-pass armor saves and things like that, suddenly they are near enough as good as a Blade Guard.
Yeah, I think
they should be pointed appropriately.
Sisters maybe needed the tiniest point increase, but I think that maybe the problem is we're comparing them. We're inherently Blood Angels players, and let's be real, the Blood Angels Codex in 9th edition was trash. If anyone wants to argue it's not trash,
you're wrong.
It's not trash.
Well, I mean,
Actually,
it's not trash.
Right.
Do you know what? I would actually say it's a balanced codex. If everything else was in line with Blood Angels, I'd be pretty happy.
I think it was balanced, and Necrons were balanced, and then it will start going downhill after that.
Yeah, like Sacrosancts, why have they got the bodyguard rule and like Sanguinary Guard don't? Like,
This I agree with. Codex creep, as usual, has been... Oh, thanks a lot, GW. Cheers.
Yeah,
I didn't put that in as a separate thing, but I probably should have done. The most OP thing of 2021 is the insane Codex creep.
Yeah, I haven't enjoyed 2021.
Aside.
Yeah, positivity, the balance update, and they're going to be coming quarterly henceforth,
I like
is
that.
a real ray of light.
It's a big step towards the idea of a living rulebook.
Yeah, I know, and I made a video complaining about that literally the day that they announced that. But so yeah, I mean, I guess right now when Sisters came in, I thought they were bullshit OP, because they could spam out like a ton of mortal wounds. Where I think they are right now is, I think
Just broken.
They're pretty strong. I
think they're strong, but I don't think they're broken. I think they're actually a really pretty well balanced codex. We're not seeing them winning the tournaments, but we are seeing them popping up at the top tables, and that's where they should be.
Yeah, so I think you're right. So let me rephrase my complaint about the Blood Angels Codex. Let's just say the Sisters Codex is where 9th edition codexes should be, and I'd say because the Necron. If you look at the Necron Codex, they just had a shitload of stuff added to their codex, right? Like loads of stuff just got core added. So I think probably to make Blood Angels competitive, you would just need to find 2 or 3 units, like key units like Sanguinary Guard, and figure out how you just push them up to be a little bit more competitive.
No, Sanguinary Guard are OP. Clearly, that's why they got a points nerf earlier in the year. Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah, I was super happy about that. Let's
not dwell on
that this would drag the salt out of you, John.
Do you know what? I was so convinced before Chapter Approved 2021, I was so convinced I was going to get 50 more points to spend on my army, and what actually happened was my army went up 60 points. It went completely the opposite way, and I was just like flabbergasted, because I was like, what? But yeah, so I think Sisters are a really good codex. I
don't think they're broken, though.
No, I don't think they're broken. I think that would be a nice standard for 9th edition. I think if you rate the Sisters Codex as balanced, then I'd say the Drukhari Codex and the Admed Codex are still 10% too powerful. I'd say the Blood Angels Codex, and I don't know enough about Necrons, but I assume that they were 10% underpowered in like all these new rules.
Everyone says they are, but they've never felt that underpowered when I've played against good players using them.
But all these new, everything getting core in the Necron Codex may actually change quite a lot.
Don't take that as me saying they're not underpowered. It's just me saying I haven't felt that they've been underpowered. But I'm generally playing against them with an equally underpowered codex, so they've been quite balanced.
Yeah.
So where are we going to stick them?
We're going to say bullshit OP.
See, I'm tempted to say don't know what you're talking about, Gov, because I don't think they're OP.
I thought this was when they came out, though.
Even when they come out.
Well, when they came out, they were the strongest codex.
They outrank Mortarion.
Yeah, when they came out and they could do 6 mortal wounds off Stormbolters guaranteed for an 80-point squad for 1 CP, that felt broken.
That was pretty fun.
Mortarion is still scary. Mortarion won't really be in the contending for strongest codexes of the game still. Sisters are.
So you reckon the Sisters Codex is a stronger codex than the Death Guard one, therefore we'll stick them over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think they're stronger than my tank, yeah.
I don't know about that. The evidence has proved otherwise.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. Is that the right quote?
I don't know.
It's a quote. It's not a defense.
Also, what the fuck's that in the back? Is that a Paragon warsuit? It just looks like a Baden in the background there. Look.
I think it's a warsuit.
Yeah, it must be one of the Paragons.
Right, okay. Are you ready for Shiny Space Wizards?
I think these are the strong. I actually think this is the strongest army in 9th at the moment.
For me, Grey Knights feels similar to Admech in that there's so much psychic waz going on here that trying to figure out how they do everything they do and therefore how to counter it is a bit of a problem.
I mean, I put the Captain Wizard there in the front because you can build him to do 22 mortal wounds in a turn potentially, but you're not going to do 22 mortal wounds in a turn. It actually averages out closer to 10 or 11, which is still a lot. And I don't even think that he's the strongest unit. I think the Grey Knights, the Dread Knights are. The Dread Knight Grandmaster, Kaldor Drago. Who the fuck wrote his rules? Jesus Christ.
I think that there needs to be, and this is after playing Grey Knights at the top table, I think that there either needs to be a cap on the number of mortal wounds that can be done in the psychic phase, or the smite counter should be rethought so it doesn't go up 1 per smite, it goes up 2 per smite. Because if it went up 2 per smite, that doesn't affect many armies, right? Because like if you think of a Space Marine army or like another army that's got a couple of psychers, if they smite with 2 and the first smite is 5 and the second smite is 7, that seems fine, right? The problem is when you smite on 5, you smite on 6, you smite on 7, you smite on 8, you smite on 9. It's like the guy that I played against, I think.
So here's an interesting thought. In AOS, the smite equivalent power can only be cast once a turn.
The only problem I have with that is when we start looking at some armies that are built around that. I mean, Grey Knights are phenomenal at psychic, but they've also got your fantastic Dread Knights with the great shooting and combat. You've got incredibly undercosted strike squads. You've got the teleporting bastards. You've got Grey Knight Terminators, which aren't that good, but really cool.
Really good characters, like really good combat characters. A couple of really strong combat characters.
They've really got a bit of everything that you could possibly want from an army and really good psychic. Now, for these guys, yeah, if you took away their ability to smite uncontrollably, then yeah, absolutely, I think it's fair. But then you look at someone else, you look at something like Thousand Suns, for example, they only really have their damage in the psychic phase. They are actually, if anything, quite close to Tau in that they really do all of their stuff in one phase of the game. And if you took that away from them, they've got nothing left. They've got mediocre shooting.
Well, maybe that's a Thousand Suns specific rule where the smite counter doesn't go up as fast. You know, like there needs to be a. It's kind of so they changed those planes, right? Those 2 Admech planes that could each do basically 10 mortal wounds per turn, every turn for free. Yeah. And like when they did that, when that happened to you, I don't know if that ever happened to you, but like I had a game against Gav where his planes just flew over and did like 15 mortal wounds, and that was 1 turn. Yeah. And it was just like, this has actually broken the game completely because I only have about 60 wounds in my army. So if you can do 15 of those unsavably, 15 of those that I cannot save against, you're killing a quarter of my army every turn, and there's nothing I can do about it. And this is I have a chief librarian in my army, so I get 2 denies. I also get to deny with +1 if he's within half range. So arguably, I have kind of the best psychic defense we could have, without actually going and like taking assassins or taking relics to fight against psychic, which you probably don't do in a tournament when you have to fight against a bunch of different armies, right? So if you have one army that can do 20+ mortal wounds in a single phase, on top of all the really good shooting, on top of all the really good combat, you actually have a problem where like they are just broken. So I lost the game. Yes, I'm probably bitter about it, but at the same time, like I think that there needs to be some sort of cap on in a regular army like this cannot be doing 20 mortal wounds in a single turn from psychic if their other 2 phases are on par with my other 2 phases, and in my psychic, I'm lucky if I do 3 mortal wounds, right? Like, it's just, mathematically, I will lose 90% of those games. I do
wonder if there's a problem, not so much with the psychic potential of, I mean, this guy's stupid. 22 off of 1 guy is insane. But ignoring that for a second, I wonder if there's more of a problem with mortal wounds. Because like you say with the Admech flyers and things, the fact that he could do 15 mortal wounds to you and you have no way of really doing anything about that, maybe that's where your problem lies. We've got rumours coming out about the Custodes Codex. Of course, as this comes out, it's been delayed till January, and them getting an invuln against mortals, the same as their invuln against everything else. And maybe that needs to start. If you want to start having all these psychic mega Death Star things, that's fun. It's quite cool. But there needs to be some way of defending against that to balance that in the game. Or, like you say, kill off Smite a little bit.
Is the metagame something that can adjust and move to be a more anti-psychic, which will make Grey Knights fall off a bit?
I think it already is.
Grey Knights are still very much up there at the top alongside Drakari.
They are. And I think, and I wonder if, give it a little bit more time, we'll start to see that drop off as people adjust their play. But that's hard to predict at the moment. They are very, very powerful. I don't feel when I'm playing against them quite as powerless as I did playing against a couple of AdMech lists earlier in the meta.
The problem with the AdMech and the Flyers, the Flyers' movement completely negate the benefit we got from having decent terrain in the game. They'll move. There's no way you can be where they can't get line of sight on you and see you and shoot you. And that was an inherent problem with Flyers as a unit type. Or aircraft, I suppose. Psychers and smiting, you've got what, an 18-inch range?
Mm-hmm.
You have, and you can lightning rod it, and you can defend against it, and you can deny it, and there's a few other little things like that. It's very, very powerful, but it doesn't scare me as much as some of the AdMech lists that I played against where I was like, fuck it, I might as well go home now.
Yeah, I mean, when I played against this guy, he was able to deep strike, I think, in turn 1, right 9 inches away from me, and then unload a bunch of powers on me.
Deep strike in turn 1?
No,
well,
he
can
can't
teleport it. He can cast a power to teleport him.
So he deployed the army and teleported. So effective deep striking, yeah, I guess.
So, I mean, in the same way, that's the same problem that you have. And then he can cast on 3d6, so, like, his casting rate seemed like 100% reliable. I mean, if you can cast on 3d6, and then he can also cast a third power, I think, and if any of the first 3 powers do wounds, he can then spend something to do, or use a relic to do, like, an additional 3 mortal wounds. So it's like this, like Tony said, it's
don't get me wrong, this fucker's busted.
Yeah, I mean, like,
the librarian is ridiculous. They've broken him.
Yeah,
the army as a whole is powerful. I don't think it's broken, to be honest. I just think it's really strong. I mean, you said yourself, John, that one of the main reasons you lost that game was not because of Captain Mega Smite here. It was because you, for some reason, decided you didn't need to screen anything.
I'd never played Grey Knights before. Not a great time to be playing them on the top table, to be honest.
You knew pretty much exactly what you're going to face on the other 4 games that you played that weekend, and this is the only one you were going in close to cold on.
You know,
so it's fair.
Your screening was on point against that guard player that you knew was going to be dropping things in. And then against this guy, because he hadn't put anything in reserve, you thought, bugger it, I don't need to worry about it. And then he started teleporting stuff around. If you had screened a bit better, maybe you would have been a little bit better off.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
not
I don't...
on you at all. You haven't played against him.
No,
but I'm throwing your own words back at you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've played against a 1,000 Sun list that had the same problem, though, right? Where it was just like 10 smites or something ridiculous, you know, and all their smites, all their casts are with +1, and I do think there is a problem with, like, if you only have 60 wounds on your army, like I think my army is 66 wounds or something because we had to work it out for, like, no prisoners. If you can do 15 or 20 mortal wounds in a psychic phase, then to me that, like, the math just doesn't work, right? Because, like, you're going to get tabled in, like, 2 or 3 psychic phases. It doesn't matter what they do in other phases. That's just, I don't know.
I think there's a problem with mortal wounds. I really do. They shouldn't be going straight through. If they want to be just another phase of the game where you do damage, or then in the same way that you've got defences against every other phase of the game, then you've got to have a defence against this one too.
I feel we're lingering a little bit too long on this and repeating ourselves and going on as to what we could or should do to fix this.
Sure.
Whereas,
well done.
Yeah.
Place it.
We're going to be here forever. Go on, where do you want to stick it, John? Actually, no, we're not going to ask you because you're too salty. Mark, where do you want to put it?
Don't care.
Pick a spot.
With reputation at the moment, again, having not played it and reviewing all the results, it's right up there with Admech and Drakari, probably between the two of them.
You reckon? John, go on then. What do you reckon?
I'll put it in the same spot. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'd rather play Drakari than play Grey Knights.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And that's with his R and his 1,014 attacks, I think he gets.
Oh, that's so stupid, isn't he? All right, let's move on then. Because
John, you know what we're doing here? What we're doing here is we're guaranteeing what the next few games you're going to play against Colin and Andrew are going to be on Plastic
It's all right, because Andrew will net list like a bastard and then lose.
Oh, no idea if Andrew watches this.
Probably not. You're fine. Even if he does, when he sees you, he'll just say, yeah, I do net list like a bastard.
When we do make our way up there. Yeah, cool.
Okay,
right.
So are you ready?
Yeah,
Go
we're
for
ready. Let's see what's next. Yeah, balanced orcs. Well, I mean, to be fair, that orc meta lasted for about a month. That is the quickest turnaround we've ever seen, I think, on them patching something.
Well, this was another one of those turn one wins at a major tournament, wasn't it?
Complete bullshit. Yeah, and it wasn't just a turn one win at a major tournament. It was a turn one win at a major tournament against one of the world's best, who wins regularly or places in top 4 or 5 of major 200-300 player GTs in America. And this guy just brought some walk buggies and killed the crap out of him.
Yeah,
well, it was the Flyers as well, wasn't it? It was.
It was a few of the scrapjets. Sorry, I think the.
So the mechanic here is you fly the jets over.
Right?
The jets kill something. They buff the rest of the buggies, and these particular buggies pictured here fire indirect fire and just blow the crap out of everything else with the buffs that they've gained from the flies killing something.
Yeah, and their strength.
And then everybody goes home.
5 -1, 2 damage, and you can make them. Sorry, not strength 5 -1. They're strength 5 -2, and you can call your speedwag to make them -3. So they just kill marines like they're no tomorrow.
It's just you're not interacting with the army. It's a completely unfun list. It's obviously completely broken due to the fact it got nerfed so hard so quick. Yeah.
I like the nerfs. It means we might see some more other. Because do you remember when they come out and? I'm sure that, John, you put #balance next to a picture of the Great White Squig.
Yeah.
Which I've not yet seen in the game.
Oh, I thought it. It's
because he's broken, but he's not. These were so powerful, this list, that everything else took a backseat.
Yeah.
And I think now that was a big nerf, but it was needed. Because I love the idea of the Speedwar. I love the idea of turning up with an army that's just mad ramshackle buggies and flyers and shit like that. Because it's cool, and you can build a Mad Max thing, and that's cool. But I don't want it to be the only viable orc list. I want to see the Green Tide. I want to see Dread Mobs, and we weren't. And we weren't going to.
I bought 6 Dakar jets within the last 3 months.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. They're all aeronautica sized and go.
Yeah.
All right, I was going to say, because now you can only field 2 of them.
Because I bought that.
Yeah. I'll pick that up in the sale as well. That was worth it.
Is that like 38 quid or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. Anyway.
So, there's not really much more to say about that, was it? It was broken. It lasted about a month. It was scary. It was broken.
Can I just put one final point in there on this?
Yes.
Andrew played this broken Dakar jet / mecha truck. Mecha, what was it? Scrap jets, 9 scrap jets, 8 rocket trucks, and a bunch of scrap jets. He played me with it 3 times. My rate was 3-0.
Is that in your favour?
Of course.
Or
you don't
is that
fucking lose to Andrew. Yeah.
Is that more of a thing that we're just knocking Andrew a lot right now?
Well, no, I was really pleased.
Well, he's been on this list more than anything else.
I was
if you think about it, 18 Eradicators, Sisters of Battle, Rucker Truck, Madness of Bollocks. The only thing he hasn't done is any Drakari or Admech.
Do you know what?
That's because he hasn't got any Drakari or Admech.
I actually probably owe Andrew quite a lot, because it meant when I played the Speedwag guy and he was like 3-0 and I was 3-0 or whatever. If I hadn't played Andrew, I would have 100% lost that game, because I literally deployed my guys 1 millimeter from the edge of the board so that he couldn't speedwag in turn 1 and like wipe out half my stuff, because that's literally how that list plays. And I I think he actually he threw everything forward because he probably I don't know if he'd played anyone that played so defensively against it, and by throwing everything forward, it meant that they were so much closer to me to get charges and stuff off. And I only won the game by 3 points, but if he'd
A win's a win.
I wouldn't. Yeah. So thanks, Andrew, for showing me that Speedwags can actually be beaten.
You know he's going to buy Grey Knights now.
So I would put the Speedwagon actually
frantically
broken.
painting away as we talk.
I almost sold Colin my Grey Knights army.
Did you?
Did you really?
And somebody locally bought it just after the Codex came out, and it was I've had these Grey Knights kicking around for donkey's years, and I never played them. And I thought I'll take the advantage of this to get rid of them before anybody figures out whether the new Codex is good or shit yet. So I clearly undersold them because I just wanted to get rid of them. But yeah,
I've got a little army of them, but I don't really play them very often, to be honest. It's mostly my weird thing of trying to collect all of the Imperium. Where do we stick them, John?
I put them in actually broken. I don't know if they were seriously scary. I never lost to them.
Mark?
they're at least broken. Yeah, they're not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Quite the same degree, but they were at least actually broken, if not top of the pile.
I want to put them up here somewhere, to be honest.
Okay.
I think that they were another army that facilitated an entire rules change.
It's fair.
And the only other one that's done that has been the AdMech.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
they weren't
true,
a tweak.
true,
They needed
yeah,
the
okay.
rules changed.
Yeah, okay, then, yeah, fair enough.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, let's move on because we're taking too much time over this. I was thinking I didn't make enough slides, but I was wrong. Here we go. Are you ready
Yes,
for
ready.
the Thunderhawk meta?
Oh, it's horrifying. It's so powerful, you just don't see it played anymore.
Well, you just if you turn up with it, you immediately have no friends.
Is this your Thunderhawk?
No, that's the one off of Forge World.
I was
Yeah,
going to say,
it's-
because if this is your one, I'm gonna check every single transfer for the one that's off center.
You'll get a chance for that later, and it is obvious, and it made me cry when someone spotted it.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, photo. I want to see it. Yeah, the Thunderhawk meta.
I mean, there's not
You-
much to say. It goes in at the top because it's broken. There is no possible way to defend against it because it's a flyer. It's 800 points. It's just like the Faustian super heavy tank, except the fucker flies
Yeah.
and can transport and has got more wounds.
That's true. He naturally deserves his spot right next to Gabriel Seth.
I was going to say it's crap, really, isn't it? I mean, has the
Soon.
Thunderhawk ever won a game? I mean, like,
I don't know if it's ever been played.
Has anybody ever played a Thunderhawk in a game?
I was going to say there's.
not in anything outside.
We've
of
got the
Apocalypse,
problem
no.
of it's bigger than the deployment zone.
I was going to say on the quarters deployment zone. What one's that called again? Like sweep and clear,
they,
is it?
They
You could-
actually put in a rule that says if your model is bigger than the deployment zone, you can still play it, but you have to put it against the table
Yeah.
edge.
Yeah.
And it can't do anything on the first turn because it's kind of still arriving at that point.
Yep.
Somebody did something like that with a Hierophant Bio-Titan one time. That was hilarious.
Yeah. So I think I think
Chocolate.
I think it goes into crap, really.
I'm not doing that. I'll put it with Gabriel Seth.
Okay. All right.
But only because nobody can defeat it. Because
Yeah, it's
I don't
probably got
think
100%
anybody's
win
ever-
rate. To be
have
fair,
you ever
'cause-
have you ever beaten a Thunderhawk, John?
No, I've not beaten.
Have you ever beaten a Thunderhawk, Mark?
So what you're saying is you're bringing your Thunderhawk to Scotland when we get round to going up there. Is that what you're saying?
Well, at the moment, nobody's ever beaten one,
Okay.
and therefore it automatically means it's the best.
All right,
Isn't that how it works?
I will
I-
play you on the map with
I
quarters
see
deployments.
how you avoided that question, so I think that answers for itself. Indeed, yes.
We can definitely get views because people will want to come and see the Thunderhawk.
Do you know what? If we are coming up to Scotland and I'm driving, because I'm not taking that fucker on a plane,
Yeah,
gonna
that's a fair
say.
point. Well made.
then
Oh,
I
dude,
will
road
make
trip.
sure the Thunderhawk is ready, and we will bring the Thunderhawk up.
Okay.
And
dude, we
Mark
could-
can bring
we-
his Acastus Knight Porphyrion.
We could have the most epic road trip on the way up to John's.
We'll film it.
We'll podcast
And we'll
live
have-
the entire thing of us talking bollocks as we drive.
And we'll have a super heavy off when we get to Scotland.
Oh god.
Okay.
Which is more
Thunderhawk.
expensive, yours or mine? I have no idea what the points are on a Porphyrion.
I think it's mine. Oh, hang on. I don't know about points. Points. Thunderhawk's 800 points.
Can't believe you.
What? Can't believe what?
You would spend 475 points on a model you can't field.
The Porphyrion was like 275 quid, I think.
No, I think the
Off the top
Thunderhawk's
of my head.
475, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's
Yeah,
fair.
the Thunderhawk's about that.
Porphyrion is 780 plus another maybe 10 points.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's about there. Fair enough. All right, anyway,
not good.
moving on.
Anyway, let's move on.
What's next?
Moving on from Thunderhawk meta. It's a Volcon.
It's
I
very
couldn't
good.
find a picture of someone. So,
What do you mean
I
you
feel
couldn't find a picture? There's millions
well,
of
hang
little
on. Let me
bastards.
rephrase that. I at the time hadn't finished making one,
Okay.
and I didn't want to just nick someone's off the internet because I'm not going to like steal people's pictures and just wantonly splash them all over my videos and make money off
You
them.
mean
Not that
like,
we make any
like,
money.
like John has done, and we get loads of call outs and people saying, yeah, you use my picture in a video. It's awesome. Woo!
Yeah, exactly. So I just took the one off Forge World and then stuck another one next to it.
All right, fair enough.
I like Volcons.
So Volcons.
Are they broken? Are they
They're
overpowered?
really powerful.
They're
really
zero
strong.
AP. I mean, they're zero
It's the
AP.
mortal wound output they do again. Oh, God, it's mortal wounds again, isn't it?
Mortal Wounds again. I think there's a problem with Mortal Wounds. I really do.
No, say it ain't so.
Don't say it on a recording, otherwise GW will hear it and it will get nerfed, and you won't be able to use it in the next balance update.
but yeah, they're really good.
Absolutely fine.
I would say probably genuinely, I think that the Volkite weapon itself is a little bit undercosted. I think 5 points is too cheap.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
it should be 10 points, and then I think that would be balanced.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, this
So that
is
would
an
put it
instance
up
of a Forge World
160
unit
points then.
just being a bit more powerful than anticipated. One of
Yeah,
the
I
very
think
rare
it's-
instances of that these days, because it's a lot less common than it used to be.
I think as a base loadout of your 2 Volcons on your basic Contemptor at 150 points, I think it's 10 points too cheap.
Each model costing a CP each goes some way to balancing it, but they're
does.
still very tasty.
That's why we're seeing armies with 3 of them. If you
Yeah,
see
basically.
any top placing Space Marine lists at the moment, they've got at least a couple of these, if not 3. And that would imply that they're a little bit cheap.
Yeah, no, I think they're in sort of the middle to highish tier on your list.
Yeah,
I
when
mean,
we did the tier list and stuff, we stuck these in S tier because everyone takes them.
That's true. Yeah, we did put them in S tier.
Yeah.
If you can
They're
get them,
more-
you take them.
They're
They
more-
are currently on Forge World if somebody wanted one before they get nerfed.
and they are better than
Because they're going to
Leviathans.
get nerfed.
just
If you're buying these right now, just be prepared for them to get nerfed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got about 2 months before the balance update and they get nerfed.
I would think so. Hold on. Does the chapter approved does change forward roll points costs, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay, then I think you've got
Where are we sticking him?
bullshit.
I don't think they're broken. I just think they're a little bit undercosted, if I'm honest.
I think they're above
Yeah.
with the.
Next to Sisters, it seems fair.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Sure.
Better than Morty?
Yeah, 45 inches to be potentially do like 10 mortal wounds is crazy. I think I had one arm do 7 mortal wounds in a game, which is nuts. So
Very nice.
8 shots,
All
7
right.
mortal wounds.
More
That was quick.
Yeah, dangerous
We-
rules.
I put him in there because we've had so many people on our Discord banging on about that they're broken and this sort of thing.
Okay.
And all I keep thinking is, stop saying that. They're going to nerf them. We haven't got
Yeah.
anything good at the moment.
I'd
not
love
helping
to
us.
disagree with you, but you're not wrong.
Right, here we go. Are you ready for...
Okay.
Why is he standing on his brother? You normally stand on the corpses of your fallen enemies. This guy is just like, ha, Jeff's dead.
And why is he?
What a wanker.
Is the model actually?
He is,
Broken
yeah,
or-
look at the model.
Yeah, I get
He's
these
standing
stats,
on his brother.
but it's an Ultramarine, so I mean, who really cares about that?
Yeah. Bullshit plot armored Smurfs.
Right.
Yeah, so the chief apothecary.
He was clearly bullshit. When
I mean,
Rune
now
Codex
it's been
came out,
massively
he was
nerfed.
the single most auto-take Space Marine unit in 9th edition. He was complete bollocks with the resurrecting.
Yeah, you think back to
two
your
models.
18 eradicators. It was 18 eradicators clustered around a chief apothecary.
Yeah, before he got his points nerf and all of this, that, and the points nerf of the jump packs that we could give him, the Sanguinary Priest, who could also take the upgrades and whatnot. So, yeah. He was bollocks.
He really was. I mean, now he's quite a lot of points and it's a little bit more of a maybe. But when he come out, everyone ran it.
Yeah.
If you were Blood Angels, you ran the Sanguinary Priest. If you're now, if you're Dark Angels, you run the Raven Guard one.
And everybody who didn't run him
Guard?
accused Space Marine players who did run him as being that guy because he was so bullshit.
Yeah. Ravenwing Bike Apothecary is still top of the.
He didn't win games inherently in and of himself. He was just really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was probably broken. Probably somewhere in the middle of the list. I don't know. I mean, now that when he went up in points cost, he kind of. Yeah, I think that he was probably just undercosted. I don't know if he was super broken. But yeah, you could probably put him at the bottom of bullshit OP.
Mark?
Yeah, sure, I'm fine with that. On the basis that, in and of himself, he didn't dictate the course of games.
No. He was just a bit broken, but I think now he's way too overcosted, especially the Sanguinary Priest version.
Now it's a
the
decision
Sanguinary Priest
whether you take him or not.
150 points is daft.
Nah, getting Assault Doctrine.
Drazar Master of Blades is 135.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay, drum roll.
Thanks. These are most definitely not over costed.
That's an image, isn't it? John, your nipples aren't overcosted. Are they undersold? I don't know. Do we not value your nipples high enough?
No. We will update our logo at some point.
What, when we get tired of mocking the huge shadows underneath them? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not an artist. I worked hard on that.
Yeah, I can tell he works hard. Yeah.
Oh, look at those.
We will
they're
definitely.
green and they're staring at you.
I've been wondering all of the last hour or so what this image was going to represent.
It's worse than your
big list.
It's worse than you could possibly
I've never
have
seen
thought.
it in quite that close-up level of huge detail in front of my eyes.
Where do we rank John's nipples? I mean, I'd say they're actually broken.
Sure.
I think they also deserve their spot next to Zeth and the Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
That was... Oh, right. Okay. I would have gone the other way with that, but sure.
So there you go, people. That is the bullshit OP tier list of 2021. At the top, we've got those toaster fuckers. And at the bottom, we've got eradicators that really weren't quite as scary as we thought they were going to be.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you. This could have been worse if we were going back previous editions for other levels of OP bullshit.
Oh, God, yeah.
In 9th edition, which is what
on the whole, on a positive note, I think that when they were releasing it, they were saying 9th edition is the best edition of 40k we have ever done. And I genuinely think that's true.
I also agree.
I've played more or less. I'll admit I didn't play Rogue Trader, but it was more of an RPG than a miniatures game anyway. But I've played every edition of 40k since 2nd edition, and I think this is the best one. I genuinely do think it's the best edition.
Yep.
It's not our best codex for Blood Angels by a long shot.
Best codex is a relative term. It's relative to every other codex in the game as well as your own. So
I think it plays well. It plays quick. It feels pretty cinematic.
Games Workshop clearly give more of a shit towards game balance than they did in previous editions, which is nothing but good.
Do you guys remember the time when they killed all their forums just overnight?
I was kind of out of the hobby then, but I do remember that, yeah.
I was just like, you just go on there and it's like, oh, we're not having forums anymore. And you're like, what? What? You know, just gone. Yeah.
But yeah,
some dark times.
They do care more, I guess.
Yeah, as evidenced by the fact they've hired one of the most major US independent tournament organisers to be their own organised play and tournament GW employee overseer guy, Mr. Mike Brandt. The fact that they've brought him on board just speaks volumes, as far as I'm concerned.
And I actually think Crusade is fantastic. It's broken because if you play a Crusade long enough, you end up with all these Crusade bonuses and relics and stuff that your army becomes utterly bullshit, OP, broken itself.
It's not meant to be balanced.
But it's not meant to be. It plays really well. It's really fun. I mean, we've got a long-running Crusade thing that we were setting up on Gorka Walker, and we've got loads of fluff on there, and you can have loads of people playing, and it's just a really fun mechanic. I genuinely think that 9th edition is the best one, even with all the silly shit that we've been laughing about.
The stuff that we're arguing about, or not arguing about, discussing as being broken and horrible in 9th edition now is so much less than it used to be.
Yeah,
really is.
So, on that note,
hope of it being fixed, and it is being fixed.
It is time for the pile of glory, but more importantly, it's time for my final beer of the night. This is called a blow, but it's actually a blow out. And originally, when I saw it, I really thought it was going to be called a blow something else. But
so, what are the chances this is not going to be bullshit?
I'm going to be disappointed if it's not. I went out of my way to buy 3 of the weirdest looking beers that they had in Marks and Spencer's. Okay. So this is some weird artwork on this can.
What's that? Is that a hairdryer or something?
Looks like
I think so.
Yeah.
So it's another piss-coloured beer, which is okay for beer. It's not okay for wine, with the rule of if it looks like piss, it'll probably taste like it. And while that settles, let's move on to the pile of glory. And Mark, why don't you tell us what you've been up to?
So the 2 on the left there are what I've been doing today because I wanted to paint that little model of Geralt in the bottom left as a Christmas present for a mate I'm going to send him. I'm pretty sure he doesn't watch this. Thank fuck. But if he does...
So is it like a statue? Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah. That's kind of where the thing I was going to go. If you paint someone... This guy, I introduced him to the Witcher 3 video game and he adored it and loved it and really wants to be able to play it again without having played it, which he obviously can't do because he's played it through. So this is kind of a sort of a statue commemorative thing just to remind of all the adventures he had in the game and really enjoyed. So I'll bung that in the post him for Christmas and hopefully it'll be good. I was really surprised at the quality of it, though. It's an insanely nice quality 3D print, that. Really cool. Found it off Etsy. Nice. And then, having started painting him, I did some more work on Sanguinius above it, which has been languishing in my cabinet for far too long now, untouched. So I finished off his wings. I've started doing some more work on the granite of the base. I finished the head and stuck the head on. He's now in a position where he's essentially complete in physical terms. I just need to do some more dry brushing and highlights and pick out some more details and get him to a point where he's properly finished, and then he can sit in my cabinet and still do nothing for years on end. We'll see about that. And then earlier in the week I played my first proper game of Age of Sigmar with my Lumineth Realm Lords. And
how'd you find it?
I found it really good fun. Apparently I'd taken the most broken bullshit in the game, which is fair enough.
What, a man with spear?
No,
if the biggest thing they've got to worry about is man with spear.
So the man with spear allows you to take man with bow as battle line or troops, which allows you to triple reinforce a unit size to 30. And then they do mortal wounds on a roll of 5 or 6 with a roll to hit. And you've got a brick of 30 of them. And they shoot things at either 18 inches direct line of sight or 30 inches with no line of sight. They just shoot over stuff. And then every roll of a 5 or 6 is a mortal wound. And they just delete things.
That sounds quite broken.
Yeah, that sounds like very broken, yeah.
They're pretty disgusting.
I mean, you're going to get sort of like 10 mortal wounds of every shooting phase.
Yeah, and there's a spell that, because every single Lumineth unit is a wizard. There's a spell that can cast a range of 18 inches on an enemy unit that shines them in lambent light stuff, and it means you get to re-roll your hits against that enemy unit. So you just re-roll everything that isn't a 5 or 6 to fish for more mortal wounds.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I do like that sort of like blue you've done for the robes there.
Thank you. I mean, the idea I went with, I wanted to do these models as far away from power armor as I possibly could do. So this is almost entirely contrast, with the exception of the metallic bits on it, which are all gold. I think they're all
I
gold.
think you can be safe in saying that they are in fact gold.
Yeah. There's just the gem thing in his forehead, which was done with Spirit Stone blue, I think it was. But no, I wanted to give him a sort of very sort of light, floaty, airy, Tolkien-esque elf kind of look to them. So
I was going to say, the Tolkienness in the robe is what I saw. Yeah, So what is that? Just contrast over
Wraithbone.
Yeah,
Wraithbone spray. Yeah,
looks good.
Very
I
nice.
assume it was very quick to do as well, was it?
Yeah, pretty. It was a test piece, so I lingered on it a little bit. But I really like how it turned out, so that's a scheme I'm going to use for the rest of my army.
Nice.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like it. The colour scheme is very reminiscent of the old High Elves as well, which is the era of fantasy that I liked.
Which is what brought me into buying these for AOS. These are the first AOS army that GW have released that feel like a classical fantasy magical army to me. I mean, Stormcast are clearly called Sigmarines for a reason. They're weird and crazy space marines in armor that teleport and stuff. Yeah, great, fine. Then you've got sort of you've got all the dark elves who are all blood,
but they're not dark elves.
things.
There's some weird fucking. I'm bitter about that because I was a long-term I was a long-term dark elf Druchii player, and they killed my army.
Fair enough.
I'm never going to forgive them for that.
Chaos is all well and good. Seraphon is all well and good. Caradron almost sold me with their whole steampunk sky pirate flying ships thing. They looked so awesome. The underwater elves almost sold me as well, but the idea of having magical water flowing over the battlefield that nobody can see and makes all of their fish float in the air.
That's a bit weird.
Seems a bit weird.
I do quite want to paint a giant turtle though. That looks fun.
But the idea of having classic fantasy elves with units of spears and archers and cavalry sold me straight away.
How do you feel about the giant cow?
I was really strongly going to stay away from it because a giant cow mountain. And then I heard about this build somebody told me about on the internet called the Red Bull build. And it's Red Bull because you buff him so that he flies and he moves at double speed and he can advance and charge. So you have this monstrous.
So you give him wings.
Cow. You give him wings.
I was going to say, do you paint him blue and red then?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Look forward to seeing that one week.
Yeah, I want to see him painted like that though.
Yeah, it better be.
If you try and play him not painted like that, then I'll be like, get rid of it.
He's like 70 quid. He's almost as much as Techless.
Not having that shit.
God.
Yeah, that's another problem. Okay, let's move on then. John, I think you've been quite busy this week, but apart from all the important stuff, let's look at some more important stuff. What have you been doing?
Yeah, I've been adding Corvus pattern heads to incursors because... Why?
Yeah, why beakies?
Because I hate the half head. Like, so the incursors wear like a faceplate.
So awful, aren't they?
Yes.
The infiltrators are pretty cool with their like aerials in the heads, but if you try and transport those infiltrators, the aerials on their backpacks and their heads, you always end up breaking them.
The half helmet with the heads on top, I totally agree. I really hate the way they look. When I did mine, I took the infiltrator heads and chopped all the antennas off them, so they looked slightly different, but they were still Space Marine heads. So
that could work, yeah. So I mean, fortunately, I had enough friends and also some people that watch the channel that sent me some beak heads, and I picked up some on eBay. So I've got 3 squads now of incursors, and they're all wearing the Corvus patterns. You can see on the right there, there's a 2 in this with the wreaths on the heads as well. So they'll be my sergeants. I'm going to go for yellow heads on these guys.
Technically,
Yeah, makes
you
sense.
should. They should be yellow,
Yeah. So
if that matters to you.
yeah, I mean,
I'm still old school. Yellow is for fast attack.
That's fair.
yeah. Well, I mean,
All
I've
my
done
assault intercessors have got red heads.
no. My assault
Well, they
intercessors are
deploy up
yellow as well.
forward. They're melee builds, so I can understand why they're close in role rather than.
Yeah.
I just think
Trooper.
beakies are cool.
So
And they
yeah,
fit really well on those bodies.
they do. They actually look surprisingly good. I was really pleased with them.
They don't look underscaled at all.
And then I also, you guys know I was finishing this Relic Contemptor and obviously doing the 4 Volcons. So I'm working on the Volcons. And then I decided to add 4 more Sanguinary Guard. And you can notice here that 3 of these guys are wielding axes. And there's 1 sword. And these are all bolters. I think I have like 25 Sanguinary Guard now. But not too many of them have crap weapon options like power fists and plasmas, and I didn't magnetize them, and I don't want to rip them apart, so I just got another box of Sanguinary Guard. I have magnetized some of the ones here, so if I want to swap out the infernal pistols for the Angelus bolters, I can do that. And you'll notice that there's 1 missing, and the 1 missing one is here, and I'm going to make a how I paint Sanguinary Guard video with this
Oh, I
one
thought you were
missing
going to make
one.
it an ancient. Okay, fair enough.
No, I actually have 2 ancients, and this guy is magnetized as well. So this guy is going to be the guy that I'm going to use for my how to paint Sanguinary Guard. And I actually made a video when I was doing this on these guys on how you can do the wings in like 2 seconds flat, because people always tell me like
They are a bit of a pain. They do
the wings
fall
are
off.
so difficult to do. Well,
Are
I made a video on like how to do 2 sets of wings on like 2 guys in under a minute. Like I don't. Well, once you've done 30 Sanguinary Guard, you gotta figure out how you do it quickly, I guess. But one other thing came this week, and you'll appreciate this more. Can you see?
Oh, very nice.
Wrath of the Lich King board game.
Very nice indeed.
It came and it's bashed. I was really upset about this. Look at
no.
this shit. So
Is that the pandemic
it
Wrath
is?
of the Lich King one?
But I mainly bought it because I just want to paint the Lich King. Like, I mean, it looks like you've got like Thrall and Sylvanas and Muradin, and I don't really know all the other characters' names.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I mainly
I love the idea that they took the idea of the zombie plague from the Lich King and transported it into the pandemic system, because it obviously clearly fits as the spread of the disease and all this kind of stuff.
So yeah, I don't know.
I didn't know what you were talking about for a minute, and I was very confused about what the pandemic had to do.
There's a board
with
game
Wrath of the
called
Lich King.
Pandemic. Are you aware of a board game called Pandemic?
Well, I am. I've now pieced it all together, but for a
Okay.
good minute or two there, I was very confused.
All right.
So yeah, I haven't even got it out of cellophane. I was upset because it was bashed, and I was going to email Blizzard support and see if. I mean, I'll probably just keep it. I'm just trying to get some fishing for some money off or something. But it does show very small on the back, the Lich King, and I figured, depending on what size base he is on, he could make quite a fun proxy in 40k, and I don't know if my painting skills are good enough to paint the Lich King, but when I did play World of Warcraft many years ago, that was the expansion that I probably enjoyed the most, so I thought,
Yeah, you're not alone in that. That's fair. There-
why not?
There are a few of the models I've been painting that I didn't send pictures onto Tony for, and again, John, you might appreciate these in Encounter. So here's one of them. You can probably recognise who that little guy is.
Yeah, it's let me see if I can think. It's Highlander.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And this is
It's Luke.
obviously.
Is it actually Highlander?
It's
'Cause it's
girlfriend.
quite small.
Yeah.
Because I fucking love that movie. The first one, the rest were awful, and so was the TV series.
Highlander's an amazing movie. So
You
cool.
know that they're redoing it with Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I've heard that.
We could have a
I
little.
didn't know
I've heard
that,
they're
but
also
Henry
supposed-
Cavill can't do anything wrong, so
That's so true. Yeah, and that's the third one that I've done.
Oh,
as
it's Thrawn. I love Thrawn.
are you going to replace your icon with a little picture of your Thrawn?
well. No, because if I zoom in closely enough on his face, it probably doesn't stand up to anywhere near the quality that.
Am I right in
no,
thinking
user
that
icon does.
Thrawn was the only old extended universe Star Wars character that they carried on over into the Disneyverse?
Not the only one, but by far and away the most prominent one.
Yeah, but
because
he did.
I love the old X-Wing novels. They were
Yeah.
my favourite ones, and
Yeah.
I was so upset when they just said, "Do you know what? We're going to fuck them all off." And then when Wedge was in the new movie and he was like fat and old and whatnot, I was like, "No, that's not Wedge.
Let's
You can all
just
fuck off."
ignore 7, 8, and 9. Just ignore them completely.
Did
Finished with Return
Pretend
of
they
the
didn't
Jedi.
exist. Yeah.
did
Shame.
they rebooted Thrawn though? They gave him like 2
They
new
did.
trilogies.
They put him into the Star Wars Rebels cartoon series, where he was a bad guy in the new canon timeline, just running up towards Rogue One, and then he disappears into space alongside the little Jedi kid character Ezra Bridger, right at the end of the Star Wars Rebels cartoon series. And then in Mandalorian season 2. Which I don't give a fuck about spoiler warnings because it's been over a year since this came out. If you haven't watched it yet, I really don't care if you're worried about spoilers at this point. There was an episode where they showed up Ahsoka Tano halfway through Mandalorian season 2, and she was on a planet being tracked down by the Mandalorian who wanted her to help him deal with Baby Yoda, and she was there trying to find out information on Grand Admiral Thrawn. And this Imperial person that she chased down and beat up went, "Where is he? Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" So the theory is that he's going to show up at some point in either the Ahsoka TV series or wherever else they take Mandalorian or Boba Fett going forward. There's a theory that says that now they've got Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau working together with the Star Wars live TV series continuity. They're going to do a little mini Avengers arc where it all builds up to the Grand Admiral Thrawn storyline.
And join us this time in 2 weeks' time for more Star Wars content.
I was going to say, because I'm going to interject about Star Wars as well. Maybe we should get back on topic. But
yeah, go for it.
Spoiler alert! You know all the droids that guy, the guy from Breaking Bad, is his name Gideon?
Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon. Yes.
Who is alive.
His dark droids
dark
or his
troopers.
dark troopers. Thrawn had a trooper, did he not?
Yeah.
That was basically the same thing. Maybe a bit earlier, but prototypey. So like Gideon is maybe working for Thrawn. Something. There's
the idea and conspiracy theory behind it is, which I think has got a reasonable amount of depth, is that Thrawn originally came up in the Thrawn trilogy, which was Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command. And part of the whole shtick of those novels, which were released in the 90s and were credited with the revival of Star Wars leading up towards the actual prequel films coming out, was that Thrawn was a tactical genius, strategic genius who could see what and predict what enemies were going to do based on insight into their art. And his grand plan for destroying the rebellion was predicated around clones. He found an Emperor's storehouse on a mountain, underneath a mountain called Mount Tantis on a planet called Wayland. And he figured out that he could grow clones there really fucking quickly due to the existence of animals that had bubbles that pushed back the Force. Because the Force was made growing clones really quickly bad. It made them go crazy and insane and stupid. So the idea is that what they're going to do in the new series is that Thrawn will be growing clones, which is why they wanted Baby Yoda's midichlorian DNA bollocks, whatever, to turn out new clones into experimenting on what they were going to do with the Emperor to bring him into episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Okay. All right, lots to take in on Star Wars. What have you been doing, Tony?
Sorry, I was having a nap.
Oh, thank you. You're not a Star Wars fan, no?
I am, but only of the good ones, which is everything that was pre kind of 1993-ish. I'm trying to, because there were some good books.
Do you like Mandalorian? Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it.
All right, okay.
I haven't got Disney Plus.
All right, fair enough.
Well, Christmas holidays is a
cool.
perfect time to take a free trial of Disney Plus, I guess, yeah? There you go.
Who knows?
It's starting down the path of redemption of Star Wars. It's worth it.
It's certainly better than 7, 8, and 9.
So were the 1, 2, 3.
It's a low bar.
So George Lucas doesn't need to sit on his high horse because he didn't do a great job of the last 3 either.
True.
Anyway, so what have I been doing? So things that I have finished over the last week or couple of weeks. I did my Dreadnought drop pod because I felt bad. I did my Death Company Dreadnought because John sent me that.
Oh, yeah, I sent you Death Company Dreadnought, yeah.
There he is.
That's nice work on the claws.
Is that transfer definitely on centre on the leg? Just wondering.
Yes. I measured it.
Oh, that Blood Angel wing on the Dreadnought drop pod. The right wing is just a touch higher than the wing on the left.
Yeah, and look up a little bit.
Ooh. What's
That
you putting up
cleaner's
there
not
for?
straight, is it?
Yeah, no, that's not good.
Someone spotted that, and I
How
was
can
just
you
like,
live with yourself?
but I didn't know until I had finished it, varnished it, put it on the shelf, and someone was like, "That cleaner's not straight."
If I was
And
the
I
kind
was-
of person who would take the piss out of somebody else's transfers, that would really fuck me off.
Oh, it's really annoying me.
Right.
It's really annoying me. Yeah.
Have you spelled destroy right?
Yes.
Are you sure?
To be fair, that does look like it's been scratched in with a knife, which is kind of a cool.
Well, the idea was, and this is my headcanon, it's supposed to have the ironclad in there, and I could just see one of his brothers gouging it on the outside without telling him, because when he lands, the doors will open, he won't be able to read that.
Can you ironclad fit in there? One of them these days? The number of wings
It
it's
can.
got.
It's about the biggest thing. You can put a contemptor, but why would you? Generally, your best bet, if you want to stick something in there, is your ironclad or your Death Company Dreadnought. And I think the ironclad works really well because people get really scared of it, and it can weather a return of shooting, whereas the Death Company one, not quite.
Is that a Tau thing in its claw?
Yeah. I mean, I did that big Tau commission, so I painted supremacy armor for someone and some flyers and all this sort of shit.
Well,
the supremacy armor came with a spare head.
Perfect.
And I didn't know what to do with the spare head of a supremacy armor. So I thought I'd put it in his hand, and then I've entitled this piece, Hey Horus, You Forgot Your Head.
Double heavy flamer, I see. Very nice.
Of course. Yeah, so I did that. I painted a Redemptor.
What do you think Magna Grapples, though?
Well, because they look cool. Not being funny, I'm not going to run it competitively anyway. And the Magna Grapple looked cooler than the not Magna Grapple.
Yeah, that's true.
Sadly, I have to agree with that.
I painted a Jump Pack Librarian. I was quite chuffed with the way the blue metallic came out. Nobody understands the thing I did with the eyes, and it just confuses everybody. I thought it'd be cool to have black eyes with white pupils on all of my bare heads for the Blood Angels, but everyone's just looking at it and go, "What's going on with those eyes?"
Fair enough.
And I might have overweathered it a little bit, but
what did you make it out
of? It's the normal modern librarian. You can buy the plastic one,
right? The guy who comes with a staff.
Yeah. With a Sanguinary Guard sword, and then I did the same fade on it that I did with the Death Company because I painted at the same time. That's just a Sanguinary Guard arm. Then it's got a left hand that I found in my bits box. Fuck knows what that came off of.
It's like a Grey Knight.
Don't know. A Death Company jump pack and some random Blood Angelsy head.
Okay,
fair enough.
It's cool. I like it.
Oh, that worked all right. And then obviously there's a Contemptor there as well with the Chain Fist and Volkite, which is generally how I prefer to play it because I like to march him to the midfield with my Redemptor. I like him stomping about rather than to go in pure shooting. But I am a filthy meta chaser, and I have painted a second Volkite as well.
And magnetised it, yeah.
And magnetised it. And at some point I'm going to snap the arm off my other one, because I've got another Contemptor, Relic Contemptor, but it's not magnetised. And It's got plasma on it. So I'll pop that off at some point. And then, that's all the sort of stuff that I've finished. Then stuff that I haven't finished, I bought the final expansion pack that I didn't have for Resident Evil 2, the board game.
Good.
I love that game. And then I've been painting golden shiny banana boys.
I see that from your background, yeah.
I'm in a painting custodes mood.
The helmet's so weird.
I know, but I'm kind of quite liking it. And I'm really just testing out paint schemes. So I made a bit of a cock up on this, and I went with the same sort of one as I do with my Sanguinary Guard. So I went with a really desaturated gold, but it does work quite well.
Nice.
And then, because, I'm like with Dreadnoughts, I've Galassus as well.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's been my hobby goodness for this coming up to Christmas. And then over Christmas, I'm going to enjoy painting things. I might even take some time rather than trying to speed paint everything.
No, that
actually take my time.
They're looking good.
That looks great. I like the yellow
Is
on the
it?
guns, actually. Really vibrant.
It's because I'm still love my second edition.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be yellow and bright red. None of this desaturated, miserable red that everything's painted now.
No, I'm the same. I like bright red. Bright red. Cool.
Mm.
So is there any more slides, or is this the end of your PowerPoint?
That is the end of my PowerPoint. I thought I'd just put that up there just to see us out, because no doubt we've got some bollocksy chatty. Although we've got most of it out. Mark's already done his 10-minute rant about Star Wars.
Join us next week for
more irrelevant bullshit.
There's nothing wrong with Star Wars right now. Hey,
There's
give it a
nothing wrong with
chance.
Star Wars. There's nothing right about Star Wars at the moment either, but
Let's see. I'm excited about seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi come back. We'll see how that goes.
The next bit is going to be Boba Fett in 1 to 3 weeks' time.
Is it?
Just a
oh, I
few
forgot. I bought some humongous Terminator daddies.
Oh yeah. I don't know how they're
And
gonna. I honestly don't know how they're gonna work in terms of like what's gonna change
I
with
really
the
hope,
Custodes.
but I bet they do lose it. I really hope they don't lose their 3-up invuln ability with the Storm Shield. And I
Yeah.
bet they do get rid of it. But I really think that the whole point of them was that you had one guy with a Storm Shield, like, come on, have a go if you think you're hard enough, and I'll take on everything. They cost so many points and they were so tough, but they were balanced at that. They didn't. Nobody thought the 3++ invul was particularly unbalanced. They are not sweeping any messes, but I bet they get rid of it. And if you have Custodes that are not mega durable to everything, then they're just going to fall right off the bottom and we're not going to see them. That's my prediction.
Yeah, unless the points costs get rebalanced to.
But then
make
that
up-
defeats the object of Custodes. It's supposed to be one guy's worth 10 Space Marines. So making him, yeah, sure, if you want him to be competitive and make him at 25 points instead of 50 points, you could do that.
It's a difficult line to walk, but
But it
ultimately
defeats the
CW
purpose of
have
them.
made that rod for their own back by wanting to
Yeah.
make all of these weird factions and making them.
I really worry that they'll lose
Unique
what
and
makes them
different rules.
special if they start weakening them in making them less tough.
I guess we'll see. I mean, they did just give that Grey Knight's character a 3-up in fun, so it's still
But he's a one-off. He's not a normal troops choice.
sure. But I mean, if Custodes random troop, like a single troop model, last time I checked, is like 40 points. If they're going to keep it at 40 points, they can
More
be.
than that, 55.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep it that high, then I'm sure they can keep their 3-up in funds. I guess we'll
I
see,
hope so.
because mortal wounds are kind of a hard counter to them at the moment, right?
At the moment, the rumour mill has it that they're going to lose it, but they're all going to gain a 4-up save against mortals.
Interesting. So they
That's
move.
a feel no pain kind of save or something.
Yeah, it's just a feel no pain that only works on mortals. It's similar to Black Templars have got.
Interesting. Okay, well, I mean, join us in a few weeks' time. We'll talk about it, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm painting them up ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. Anything to add, or are we done for the week?
I think we are just about done. So on that note, it is bye from me. It's bye from Mark. Say bye-bye. And it's bye from John,
And I'll say like and subscribe to this video, please.
if you want. You don't have to. It's not an order.
That's why I said please.
Actually. Oh, you did say please. That's all right then.
It's Christmas. Do
Yeah,
it.
show some Christmas cheer.
Throw us a bone.
Yeah. I mean,
Share the video with people. Make people watch it, even if they're not interested.
We are still trying to grow the channel as much as we can. We've seen some wonderful growth in subscribers. Thank you very, very much. We want to reach 1,000. We want to get to the point where we can make this a huge thing. So this isn't just people going, we're doing YouTube videos. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Woo! Every little bit that we can do is really helping this. So
If we get enough, then I can give up my teaching career and become a full-time wanker.
yeah.
that aside, thank you very much for every like, subscribe, and comment that you all do. It is very much appreciated. Cheers.
Yeah. And I think you won't be giving up your day job anytime soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're not like it yet. We'll get there.
Yeah, maybe one day. All right, and we'll be back next time. Probably sometime early New Year, I imagine. So
I
keep
think
an eye
we've
out.
got it on the schedule to release around the 6th of January, something like that.
Cool.
So hopefully we will see you all then for more grotty goodness.
All right.
Doodles.
Good night.
Bye.
Peace.